What's up, guys and gals? Your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the latest chapter review for Jujustu Kaisen, chapter 181, and we are officially done with Sendai Colony, and we are off to Tokyo Colony number 2, number dos this time, alright? So, there's some good things about this chapter, but there's also... I got some questions about this chapter. I got some questions, what we're going to be doing here. So, basically, the chapter opens up very strangely. It opens up really weird, doesn't it? Because we have one page with a new character, this guy named Charles, this manga person, and I think, and the whole time, when I first read the first page, then we jumped to the next page, which was a color spread. Beautiful color spread, by the way. I love when Ryu's hair is actually... Pompadour is awesome. He looks like a fucking... boss with his hair down. He really does. He looks amazing. I'd read a whole manga with that dude in that style. Like, I just would. But the end of the day is that I found it very weird. I don't know about you guys, but on my initial read, I was like, okay, are we doing some, like, Bakuman fourth wall breaking shit right now? Like, what is happening? You know, and then all of a sudden we jump back to the Sendai Colony, and I'm like, well, that was weird. And then later on, it's like revealed and everything. But like right out of the gate, we're a completely new character, no information, and we're just like, okay, there's a new person here, I guess. You know, like I don't know. It just felt weird to me. It felt like we were fourth wall breaking for some reason. So it was a little strange to me. But either way, when we open up the real part of the chapter, which is of course we get this beautiful color spread of Yuro and Ryu. Looks really awesome. 4th year anniversary and stuff for Jujutsu Kaisen. That's pretty cool. And then we jump over to the fact that Yuta, our main man, Okotsu, is going to save and let Yuro and Ryu go. That's pretty awesome, okay? That's pretty awesome. The math is apparently incorrect here. I saw a lot of people when I was watching Miss Content's reaction earlier today. I saw that apparently the math is wrong and stuff. Either way, you just got a shit ton of points, so we're good to go. He's got Ryu's points, he's got Uro's points, and Uro apparently took off. Ryu was there, they were just chilling, they were just chatting sort of idea. They were just like, well, here's the deal, blah, blah, blah. So it was actually a really nice moment between two badasses, because pretty much Ryu does that whole classic thing, which has been done in so many manga, but it's usually between two badass characters, and it's always awesome, is that one of them says, you know, that naive attitude of yours one day is going to get you in trouble and stuff. And he's like, yeah, well, I'd rather fight the way I do sort of idea. You know, it's always that similar sort of thread of conversation. You're too nice. You're too kind. You're too easygoing. You know, letting people live isn't the right thing. I mean, it's been as far back as Dragon Ball, and even before that, we've had that type of interaction between fighting manga characters, right? So, definitely really like that, because what he's explaining to Yuta is, you're fucking strong. I get that. But at the end of the day, there are those that, like, he's thinking about Sukuna. Full form Sukuna. We get this shot of Sukuna and stuff, just in complete badass. And he's like, this thing is on the level of... And he doesn't say Sukuna, but he says, like, something that cursed spirits, bodies, cursed techniques, they don't matter when you're faced off with a natural disaster sort of idea. And that your way of fighting, like... The way Ryu is sort of implying is that if you don't, you've got to take this, like, kill or be killed attitude, because if you don't, you aren't going to be able to beat that. He doesn't say, I really like this, actually. I mean, the power scaler community is going to go nuts with it, you know, and they're going to use it as some evidence that Yuta can't fight Sukuna in any way, shape, or form. But I took it as Ryu saying, like, you are going to get yourself killed against enemies on that level because of your kind heart, of your naivety, of all these things, right? Because of your naivete. So he's just telling Yuta the facts, the way it is, and that to fight monsters, sometimes you've got to act like a monster sort of mentality, right? And I like that advice for Yuta, because he's saying, you're letting Uro live, you let me live, you know. That's just showing that you are not cut out to be the, you know, the be-all and end-all, you know, when the chips are down in that way. And I don't know. I took a lot from this small conversation. It only lasts a few pages. I wish the whole chapter was just them chilling, just them chatting, because I love Yuta, I love Ryu. I wish Uro had shown up, but they make some jokes about Your girlfriend, you should talk to her, blah, 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 sort of idea. And also the idea that Yuta considers himself blessed. It's something that I have said many, many times, that Rika was almost acting more like a blessing than a curse, in not in the very literal sense, but in more of the metaphorical sense. It's like they always refer to her as a curse, but it's more of a blessing when it comes to Yuta, right? Because Rika actually blessed Yuta with a copy of herself when she moved on to the afterlife, whatever, right? So the fact that he uses the term "I'm blessed," you can take it that way, that he's blessed by having Rika, by having his friends, by having this, by having that. You know what I mean? Like you could take it that way, and then you could take it the other way, which is, of course, he's a prodigy, he's a genius, he's the best in at what he does, and what he does isn't very nice. The Wolverine style of shit. So I definitely really like that. The fact that he said, "Hey, can you just give me your points? Like then we'll be solid. We'd be all good, bro. Like let's do this. Sort of idea. Like I like that idea. It was pretty solid." And Ryo easily gives up the points and says, "Hey, sure, whatever." So he's got Uro's points and stuff. You just got over 200 points. He's laughing. He's sitting there happy and laughing. So then we move on to the manga guy from the French dude, Charles, which is ironic because it's both an English and a French name, but I've heard it many, many more times. You'd think he'd pick a more French name. Charles is, of course, originating in France and England, stuff like that, the European countries, but I find it's much more prevalent when you meet a Charles. They are more, from the UK, and I feel like there are many more Frenchy names that you could have used, but I mean, whatever. Okay, so Charles the Frenchman, who was raised in Japan and is very weird. Let's straight up. He's weird. He's one of these guys who, what he reminds me of? He reminds me of a bit of a Discord bozo. He reminds me of a guy who thinks that he's can write the greatest story. He's got the best drawing talent. He's got all this skill and stuff. And if people don't see the greatness 10 out of 10 that he is, then it's just like, oh, well, you're just so simple-minded. You know what it reminds me of? Like the Rick and Morty community. It's like, oh, if you don't like Rick and Morty and don't think it's the greatest TV show of all time because it's so smart, then you just don't have the level of intellect. You don't have that high-level intelligence, that peak, IQ 10,000 brain that I do to showcase that Rick and Morty is, that kind of idea. That's the type of attitude this character has, so I immediately don't like him. Got an interesting design. Sort of reminds me of that dude from Demon Slayer, whatever his name is, where he's got the cropped off hair. It looks kind of funky. Reminds me of that design a little bit there. The dude with the yellow jacket or whatever. Anyways, point of the matter is that there's already this character. He's a weeb. He's an otaku, and he's a nerd. He's overly passionate. He seemingly isn't very good at drawing manga. Like he thinks he's all that in a bag of chips. Like sitting down there with a cup of coffee, going, "So, all we need to work out is a price." I mean, clearly, once you read my manga, you'll know that we'll definitely be in business together for a very long time. Like, he's overly confident about his subpar, mediocre work, and then he gets all bitchy about it and stuff like that. We see him on a Ferris wheel with Hakari. Now, this is the big thing to take away from the chapter. We're going to see Hakari in action. Now, I'm sure that Manga Boy is going to have some crazy technique involving drawing or bringing things into reality. We've seen this in so many things. We've seen it in Naruto with Sai. We've seen it in One Piece with Kanjuro. We've seen it in literally everything. We've seen it in Medica Box. We've seen it in a lot of things, right? So I'm assuming it's going to be something about pen and paper bringing drawings to reality, something like that. I could be, this could be a red herring. You could have absolutely a technique doing nothing involving that. But it will be cool to see Hakari in action. They're riding this Ferris wheel and stuff, and he's, bitch moaning and complaining about, oh man, Kenjaku did all this stuff, and now there's no manga, and, there's no Shonen Jump this week, and like, what am I supposed to do with my life? Manga didn't come out this week, so this weekend is ruined. I just don't, he's just such a fucking weeb. And, ironically, we're all bitching that he's a weeb, and we're all talking about anime and manga and, YouTube channel based on that stuff. But there's a difference between enjoying video gaming and being a fucking nerd, you know what I mean? Like being going that deep, you know? You don't need to be the classic what Family Guy sort of makes fun of when they think of like a guy living in his mother's basement, fat with Dorito dust, you know, on his friggin', you know, shirt that he hasn't washed, hasn't showered in 3 days, you know, that kind. You don't need, you know, you can enjoy video games and you can game for hours without having that persona, you know what I mean? So in the same sense, this guy is literally the stereotype of what people think when they think weeb in a bad way, otaku in a bad way. And he's like, oh, you know, what's a good reason to fight, blah, blah, blah. And then Hakari just basically tells him, he's like, give me a reason to fight you. He's like, I wouldn't read your shitty-ass manga if you fucking paid me, you disgusting, you fucking weeb. You know, sort of idea, giving him the finger, you know? I love it. I think it's hilarious. I love how Hakari's just like, no. See, this was just a practice. I wanted to ride the Ferris wheel here, see what's going on. You know, is this a good idea for a date with a girl? You know, Hakari not giving 2 fucks. And then he's just like, all right. So, yeah, well, if you're going to be crying, bitching, moaning, and complaining, then listen here, you fucking weeb. You know, so you damn otaku, disgusting otaku. You know, I love it. I think it's absolutely fire. And then, of course, the Frenchman starts crying. Of course he's got to be French, and he's got to be this dainty little bitch, you know? Of course he's French. Of course he's French, you know? The fucking French, man. So this is absolutely hilarious for me personally, because not only is he this disillusioned, wimpy, emotions right there on his chest, you know, sort of weeby little bitch. It's just icing on the cake, the cherry on top that he's French, you know. That just makes me laugh. That absolutely made me laugh. I was like, out of all ethnicities who could make this guy, he even was raised in Japan, but they still made him French, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna have so much fun with that, because every time he does something bitchy, I'll be like, well, what did you figure? He's French. What do you know? The stereotypes are gonna be abound. They're gonna be carpet bombed throughout all my reviews every single time this guy is on screen. So anyways, the chapter overall, as I said, pretty good. As I said, I was a little disillusioned by it felt like fourth wall breaking at the beginning, then we jumped back to Sunday. I was like, is that some random page from another manga that he drew? Like, what the hell? And then it started to make sense, but just the way the dialogue went and it was written, it just seemed a little odd. But other than that, you know, it was pretty cool. I wish we had more of Yuta and Ryu's conversation. That would have been better for me, but we had to introduce this new character and stuff, and we need to give him a little bit of, you know, screen time, some backstory before we had Hakari basically saying, you piece of shit. So, all right. But yeah, so I like the chapter. What did you guys think? Are you excited for Tokyo Colony number 2? So far, I'm just excited. I'm not really excited for the colony. I'm just excited to see what Hakari is capable of. We all want to know, what did Yuta mean? Because Yuta thinks that he can actually take on... He's planning to go kill Kenjaku, and he thinks he can take on Sukuna. So the same man who says these 2 things, and his third thing is that Hakari is stronger than him when he gets going. So we want to see this man get going. We all want to see it. We want to know, what does that mean? How can this dude beat Yuta? We want to know. So let's wait and find out, I guess. We're going to follow Hakari by the looks of it in the colony number 2 of Tokyo. So that sounds like a good time. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Like, comment, subscribe as always. Don't forget, fourth and most importantly, is to drink, but responsibly, as I always do. We'll see you guys back here next time for chapter 182 of Jujustu Kaisen. Hoping you guys are looking forward to it, because I certainly am. See you next time. Bye-bye.